SOMM SMACKDOWN is a challenge that you provide to a wine professional, and you ask them to present an idea around wine to a concept. It could be to a dish, to a menu.
5 SOMMs in every city are able to bring in a wine they are passionate about to not only pair with all the great dishes of Cochon 555, but also with the event in general.
I usually just tell people to say SOMM.
SOMM for short.
Just SOMM.
Sommelier, how do you pronounce it?
I have a very good friend, and his girlfriend is French. And so she lays into me quite a bit about my pronunciation.
I always have this moment of insecurity. I'm like, am I actually, I've been working in this position for 10 plus years, but am I saying it right?
Sommelier.
So what my parents would be upset, they're both linguists. I should be able to break this down and do like what? S-A-H?
Not Somalian, Smellian.
U-L?
Sommelier.
Y-A-Y, I think, is how I think of it.
Some, all, yay.
Wine director. So much easier.
A sommelier is an ambassador of wine.
A beverage expert.
Really a jack of all trades.
Our job is to take care of our customer as best as possible.
The most important thing is service.
I just walk up to the table and say, I'm the wine guy. You know, I think that as a title is something easy to write, to understand. It's the wine steward in a restaurant that is gonna hook you up with the best bottle of wine.
The more the dialogue can be about your expertise, and you as a wine drinker are the formative expert in what you like. My role as a sommelier is to translate your expertise in you into a glass.
So everyone's looking for the best pairing. People love the luxury of a good champagne with heritage breed pork, and that romance of the pairing, how to find the pairing, what you're learning about the wine, the education.
Close your eyes and smell on a glass of wine and be transported back to where this wine came from. I love that sense of place.
It's very human, and that way it's very flawed and exciting and romantic.
Everything there is just one big romantic gesture of like falling in love with something every day in a different way.
I brought a champagne. Henri Giraud is the producer. It's his Fête de Chêne, Grand Cru. I chose champagne in part because who doesn't like drinking sparkling wine all day? And when tasked with pairing 25 preparations of pig, champagne seemed like an obvious choice, just because it's one of those wines that frankly goes well with everything. It has yeasty notes, but it's also got nice like lemon meringue, lemon curd, the fruits there, but it's also got, like I said, this really nice balance of salinity that makes your mouth water and allows you to taste food better. They're in Aix, which is the traditional home of Champagne. That's where Champagne was born, and they're really trying to bring the focus back to Aix. And I love this producer. This is what we call a grower champagne. The grapes are grown on the estates, so they're both very involved with the agricultural side of the production, as well as obviously the vinification. They're third generation. Their first wine came out in 1625.
Thank you for doing this. Much appreciative. Very much appreciative. And thanks for doing this. So the big trick is to get all the judges into this room, right? And to get them all trying the wines. I mean, we're just creating this larger, more impactful layer of conversation to supporting family farming, family winemakers. The winemakers are getting more excited about this event because you guys are here. There's more conversations that are happening just because you 5 said yes. All these judges will come in, we'll wet their palates, then we're gonna go make them eat food.
Yeah, then come back in.
And then come back in and vote. If you were to like walk out of here, go eat, come back in the room and like, all right, you get to pick one wine to go with everything for the rest of the day. What's it gonna be? And they're gonna be like, I would go with that one. That's the best all in. So that's what we're going for.
Look at having the possibility of 30 different dishes tomorrow. I've got how many flavor profiles that I'm gonna work with. So basically, I got a plate for pork. I'm probably gonna see a little bit of spice, and I got definitely to worry about fat. So I wanted something sparkling that's gonna lift that off the palate. I wanted something with a touch of residual sugar, which the ferment from Hungary does. The nuttiness is great. The fruit's gonna be stony. It's nice. Texture is beautiful and elegant, and the bubble is really luscious. These vineyards were once producing wines for the Habsburgs, some of the most, interesting royal families in all of Europe. for a period of time. They fell out of fashion, they fell out of production. They were taken over and brought back by one of the partners from the Huet Chenin Blanc vineyards and one of the Story vineyards in the Loire Valley in France. So stylistically, these wines have a lot of parallel to those wines. I love those wines. Chenin Blanc's one of my favorite. Thought this was a little bit more appropriate and versatile of a wine for this competition.
Sparkling wines come in a lot of form, and most of them, again, follow the tradition and history of champagne, whether it's from there or not. The three basic are a Blanc de Blanc, which means made from a white grape. Most of those are all Chardonnay. Then there's Blanc de Noir, which is a white wine made from red wine grapes. Because when you press them immediately, that juice is all white until you soak the skins. That's where we get rosé from.
Well, we're in sunny California. We're in Los Angeles, right across the street from the beach. So what do you want to drink with the sun shining and, you know, while you're eating tons of pig? You want to drink something refreshing. A Ruinart Rosé Champagne it's quite a delicious wine. It's going to have notes of tropical fruit, rose, some red berries. On the palate, it's really high acidity. It's going to be crisp and fresh. But on the body itself, it's quite voluptuous. So it still completely coats your mouth. And then you have this little hint of mint that just comes out of nowhere. You can have the same wine one place and then have the exact same thing 2 years later or a week later, and it'll taste completely different because where you are, what you're eating, who you're with, your environment, your surrounding, your company also affect how you receive that wine.
For me, like, champagne is comfort. It's something that I've been drinking since day one. My son was born 4 years ago. The first thing I did when he was born is I rubbed champagne on his gum, behind his ear, give him the taste of good life.
It's so subjective. Like, I may like a wine and may feel things differently than you do. It doesn't mean if the wine's good or not. It's just a matter of this makes me feel a certain way and it makes me have this emotional rush of just joy.
It's something that allows me to really identify with many people at many different points in their life. That just like wine is never really done and finished when it goes into the bottle, it has a story to tell and that story evolves. And so do the people that I get to meet.
Being able to share it is really special. Being able to sit with someone that you love or good friends and to all be able to really consume something, to take it into your body and get to know that. It's a really pretty intimate thing.
I remember the first glass of wine that I just loved ever was Roederer champagne. Not Cristal, just the regular Roederer. And it was because my dad and I were in Paris and we were at a brasserie. And we started with champagne. And I just thought I was the coolest thing in the world. And so, funny thing, now champagne is my absolute love and probably if I could only drink one wine for the rest of my life, what I would drink.
I've done everything I can to go see the world, and wine does that for you in a glass, in an afternoon. It completely changes your mindset. There's something super transportive about sitting here, staring at a rosé in the middle of a hotel when it's sunny outside and I'm here and I still feel like I'm in the south of France. So being able to translate our world through a glass of wine is really powerful.